In this lesson, you will learn the basic syntax of the C# language, and thanks to that get the needed knowledge to solve the provided problems and exercises. Also, of course, to make your own simple programs. First of all, to program, you need a place where you will write your code, and that place or more specific environment is called IDE, for short of Integrated Development Environment. More precisely, that is a software application which provides all of the needed by developer things, such as different tools and features. For each lesson, I will use Microsoft Visual Studio 2019. And now I'm gonna show you how exactly to create a new project here. So first click on Create a New Project. Now choose the project template. Find and click on Console Application. Console Application is a program developed in Visual Studio which accepts input parameters, calls the required service, sends the output on the console, and so on. And about this console, it represents the tool by which we give the computer commands in a text format, which is called the input, and the results that we get, which is again in a text format, is called output. So now I'm gonna choose the console application, and if you don't see it right here, you can search for it like that. And next. To configure our new project, we should set name of the project and the solution in which the project will be. Also select the path, I mean the location where we want our program to be saved. And by default, it's saved here. It is important to remember that the name of the project and the solution for best readability must be wrote in Pascal case. And Pascal case means that your name should start with uppercase and to be marked if there are some other words like this. I'm not gonna change the location, but it's good for you to do it. Now, next. About the target framework, always choose the newest version, which now is the .NET 5, the current one. Of course, if you don't have a reason to not choose it. So finally, click on Create. That is how our new created project looks. And let's continue with explanations and examples of the syntax. You may notice that I have already added comments to the code. I will now explain each line of our program along with those comments. Let's start with the first line, using system. Using system means that we can use classes from the system namespace. Here can be more usings, and each of them is a reference of .NET Framework namespaces. That is why I put this comment here. The next line, which is the second one, is a blank line, and it is here for more readability. The third line is namespace basic syntax. Basic syntax is the name of the namespace. And the namespace contains different classes or other namespaces. The curly braces show the beginning of the block of code and the end of the block of code. That is the block of code inside the curly braces. The next line is class program. Program is the name of the class, and the class is a container of data and methods. So it contains data and methods which brings functionality to the program. And each line of code that we want to be executed should be inside the class. Here in the seventh line, we have the main method. The keywords such as static, void, and those one inside the mains brackets, you don't need to understand at this stage. About the main method, it will always appear in our program, and any code inside its curly braces would be executed. You also don't need to understand how exactly the using the namespace or the class works. Now we're going to focus more on that inside the main method. And for now, here is only this line, which is console Readline hello world. And Readline is a method which is part of the console class, and the console class is part of the system namespace. If we don't have this using, if I removed it, this line will not work, and I can make that. I can put system here, but it's preferred to be here. But in this way works too. Only without the using system don't work. So now I'm gonna again put it here. And something that you should definitely remember, because you have errors if you don't put the semicolon after every C# statement. So don't forget it. About the console Readline, the Readline method prints on a single line that which is inside the brackets. And here we have hello world. So in a console, it will be displayed hello world. And now I'm gonna start the program to show you that it works. You can run your program by clicking here or click on debug and then start without debugging. I use this way. Like you see, the output is hello world. Comments are great to write some additional information to some line of your code or just explain what a certain line does or lines. For single line comments, use this. And for multiple lines comment, you use this syntax. Now I will explain to you other important things that you should understand and remember. As you can see, I've already added new comments and removed the old ones. So now I will start and with explanations. Okay, first, here in the Solution Explorer is the solution and the project that we created. And in this solution, you can create other projects by clicking right button of your mouse on solution. Then add new project. Click on new project. Now again you select console application. Next. Or you can also choose other template. Here you again set the name of the project that you want to add. Let's say that is demo. And again the location, by default it will be saved here. If you want something different, you just click here and select the right path. So now next, again the target framework, the newest version, which is .NET 5, and create. And that is how you can add other projects to your existing solution. And when you write here some code, like you see here, we don't have demo. We have basic syntax, which is the previous project. And when I run this program, I will run basic syntax. To allow run more than one projects and to run this project in the example, you should make this. you go on solution, again right button of your mouse, properties, and change this setting to current selection. That is how when you're in other project of that you first of all create, you can run it too. So apply and OK. And that is. Now when I'm here, we have demo. And it will execute the code inside this project when I run this. So now we're again in the basic syntax. Here we have the Readline method that, like I said, it prints on a single line that what we put inside its brackets. In the situation, we would have hello world. In the next line, we have other methods, again from the console class, which is hello. Hello again prints on a single line, but with the little difference that it prints on a single same line. If I have again console right, let's say below this line, and I say again hello, for just the example, when I run the program, I will have hello. Let me show you what I'll have. I'll have this, because it prints on a single same line. That's what we put inside these brackets. But if I'm using console write line, then the other hello or hello world will go on the next line. And I will show you that in a while, how it exactly works. Here we start with something really important too, which is declaring a variable, declaring a new variable. And variable, one variable includes type, name, and value. Here is the type of our value, the name, which is fruit, and the value that it has, which is apple. So the type string, when we are using string, the value should be text. String represents text. So that is why here we have apple. And when we have text, we put the text inside double quotes. That is part of the syntax. And here again we have double quotes and the hello world inside it. So that is how you can declare a new variable in C#. So you should remember, because that is really important. First of all, you write the type, that what you want, like a value. You should write here the type which represents it. So string represents text, and that is why as value we have apple inside double quotes. When we have string, we use double quotes, and inside the double quotes we write the text that we want to include that variable as value. And the name is good to be easy to understand what is inside this variable, because in the code you're gonna use the name of the variable when you want to use its value. Here in the next line we have again the Readline method from the console class, and inside its brackets we have fruit. That is how we can use this variable, by its name, and its name is fruit. So when I start the program in the console, I have apple, because it will print the value of this variable, which is in this case apple. You can also only declare a variable without assigning a value to it. Here I have the type, again string, and the name of the variable, which is vegetable. But I don't have this part of the syntax, because I only declare the variable without assigning value. For now, it has no as value or nothing. When I set or assign a value of this variable, it will have that value. So that is why here, when I use the name of the variable and assign to it a value which must be in the same type as the declared. Here I have string, and here I should have text. If I assign a number to that variable, let's say 6, I will have an error, because I can't do that. That is type string and it represents text. But if I do that, now I won't have errors, because 6 is inside double quotes, and till now it is a text, not a number. And that is something really important that you should understand. So when we have double quotes, what we put inside them, it starts to be a string. And now 6 is a string and not a number. Now you can also assign the value of that variable, not in the next line. You can assign it here, let's say, where you want. Here, and it again works. So also you can do that. You can assign a new value to existing variable. We already declare that variable with name fruit, and we also use Readline to print it on the console here. But now I assign to fruit other value, which is pear. And now when I print, when I run the program, I will have as output pear and not apple, because here I say that I want from now to when I decide to again change it or not, I have pear. So that is why here we'll have pear as output on the console. And you can change the value of the variable multiple times. It is up to you in your task. And if you don't want to change the value of the variable that you create, then you just, when you make the new variable, you say that the type you want to be is this. And now you can change that. Right? Now you can't change that variable, and that is why here I have an error. It will always be apple. So now we know how to declare a new variable. The right syntax is type, name, and value. We also learn that we can declare a variable without assigning value and assign a value to it later, right here. Also, that we can assign a new value to existing variable. And here are some variables of other types. About more types and in more details, we're gonna talk about in the next lesson, but for now I will show you this. Here we have int. Int represents whole numbers or integers. That is why here is 9. And if I put 9 in double quotes, I will have an error, because that is text and not a number. But when I remove them, it is a number. So when you're using this type, the value should be integer. In the next line, we have the double type, which represents numbers with floating point, like the name of the variable. That is a num with floating point. And here we have char, which is for short of character, and it represents different symbols, or let's say, like in the case letter, this letter. I can also put here this, because it's simple. And you can't put here text, because that is string. So when you're using char, you should remember that when you're assigning the value of the variable, it should be inside single quotes to work, and to be char and not string, or integer or double if there is no quotes. So here I have another method from the console class, which is Readline, and it read from the console. When I run the program, I can write, let's say, cat for the example, because I have pet. And here I have something from type int. And when I have type which is different from string, because the string is text, and like we know on the console as output we can get text. Also we give to it an input again as text, and when you're using other type you should convert the string to a number, because everything is a string. And that is why here I have this method which is parse. And the right syntax is, first of all you write the type, then the parse method, and in its brackets, because that is again method, and the methods have brackets, and inside it you put the console readline. That is how you convert string to a number. If here is double, you change that also to double to work, and that is how it works. And that is for the double, the char, the int. You should use the parse method. And here is how you can get the output of the console. Let's say you want to print on the console a sentence, and you want to say that, like in the example, this number is bigger than this number. So there are two ways to do that: with string interpolation, which is the first one, and you always use a Readline to print, of course, that what you want. And about the string interpolation, you put the dollar sign before the double quotes, which will represent the text that you put inside here, and you can use a variable that you created in your project, like the num with floating point. Here is this variable, and I want to use this variable, and that is why I use it by its name. And you put it inside curly braces. Then you write your sentence, and when you want again to insert some variable, some declared variable, you again put its name inside double quotes. And in the console you will see that we have this number is bigger than this number, and that will be the sentence. The other way to do it is with composite formatting, because in the programming we start from 0, if you don't know. In curly braces, you put the, let's say you want here to put again the num with floating point. Inside the curly braces, you put 0, because we start from 0. And when you want to insert other variable, here we have 1, you can also put 2, and like that. Here is the first, which is the 0. Here is the second, which is the 1. And this will go here, and this we go here Like this example, it is the same, it makes the same, but just is other syntax. Is up to you what to use. I'm using this one. And now, when I run the program, we will see all of the results that we will have. And because I want to show you how the write method works, I will copy this and change the write line to write to show you how both works. So now I will run the program. So now I have hello world, hello, and apple. But why apple is in the same line? Here I have the hello world method and it displayed hello world. Then I have the write method, which is hello. And because when I'm using the hello world, when I'm using the write line, when it print that what is inside its brackets, it goes on a new line. And when I'm using the write method, it don't go in a new line, and that is why here apple is on the same line as the hello. Then when I have because console write line goes in the other line, and when I'm printing the fruit with the other value that I assigned to it, it is on the next line. So when you're using write line, it prints and then goes on a new line. When you're using write, it prints and don't go on the next line. So that works, that's two, and we are here. Now we have to read from the console, and pet, like I said, cat. Then I click when you wrote that what you want to read from the console, enter. And the other that I have to read from the console is my favorite number, 9. Again, enter. And we have the results from these 4 lines. First, so like I said, this will be replaced of our number, and our number was this, the num with floating point. Then the other part of the sentence, it is printed, and we have again this, which is replaced by this variable with name number, which was 9. So it works. In the next line, I have the same, because like I said, the string interpolation and the composite formatting do the same. They produce the same, so it is up to you what you want to use. Then, that is the result. That are the results from the Readline method. And here, when we are using write, like you see, we have the both sentences in one line. So we have the number with floating point is bigger than 9, end of the sentence, and then the other sentence again on the same line. And that is how the write method works. So that was for this lesson.